See what I get in here.
Jolly Ranchers.
You want some?
It's good. Look you. I'm gonna bring some candy.
Candy only for this area.
What's your favorite kind of cookie? No, bake.
Chocolate chip.
Yeah, who doesn't
I'm
like
sorry, I
chocolate
have boring favorites.
chip? It's classic, don't call
Sorry,
it
I'm so
boring.
vanilla.
He asked me what my favorite ice cream was, and I was like, chocolate chip, and he was like, really?
I like vanilla. That's my favorite. That's cool.
Hey, you can't go wrong with classics.
Right.
All right, chocolate chip.
Actually, you know, I take that back, you can.
I forgot that I had
How?
5 boxes of frozen
When they-
cookies.
And they make it all gooey and dessert.
Did you eat 5 boxes by
You don't
yourself?
like
You know what you were doing.
What?
You don't like applesauce or chewy cookies?
No, I
Get out
like
of
it
America.
chewy. I don't like it wet.
You don't like the goo in the mo.
Yeah, it's good. It's supposed to be baked, not half baked.
And he didn't say he didn't like applesauce, he said he didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I've never had it, so how can I know what I like it? And first of
I don't
all,
know,
it's
you're
not food, it's
very
sauce.
judgmental about the sauce part of it.
It's sauce, no, it's not food. You gotta understand, I come from a
Chutney
country
salad
that
is a
knows
spice.
what food is.
Yes, that is true, you do. I can't argue.
Morning. Richmond, I know you're hearing us, but we haven't actually started yet. There are a couple stragglers coming in, so let's wait until everybody gets here.
You should ask them what they think about applesauce.
As they walk in.
Makes a great marinade.
See? It's not food, it's
It
sauce.
doesn't mean it's not food.
It also makes a great snack.
Food.
I mean, if you like eating sauce. See?
With cinnamon,
See?
yeah.
You have
No, I
lots
don't
of
like
sauces
sauce.
in your foods.
Yeah, but I just don't eat sauce, and they are not
Basically,
called sauces.
What are they called?
Curry, it's very different.
It's like a sauce.
No, but
I'm sorry.
it's like a perfect complement for something, right? It goes with something.
With naan,
And
which is like drinking sauce, right?
no, you're not drinking it.
I think she's got you there.
Yeah, but it's not
It's just
sauce.
spicy sauce.
No, it's not sauce. That's the thing. It's first of all, it's thicker than stupid sauce.
So chew.
Bless you.
Well, yeah, it can be. It's like stew, but it's again not stew.
Sort of like wasabi is not a sauce.
Sorry,
Sort of
what?
like wasabi is not a sauce.
No.
Curry is not wasabi. That is not
How
a
is wasabi
comparison.
a sauce?
That is different.
Powder.
Wasabi is like a,
It starts as a root. It starts as a root. And they dry it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a relative horseradish, I think.
Yeah.
like a light piece of fruit. The first time I ever had wasabi, a friend of mine who put it in. Here, have this.
Okay, it is 8:30. I know sometimes life prevents you from being here on time, but those who are not here on time are going to miss the first instructions today. Remember what we did yesterday? We went off and we created our own databases. We're going to do the same thing this morning. We're going to go off, and for the first half hour, I want you all to go off and build a database. Same groups as yesterday if you want. Mix it up. If you want to switch groups up, it's all up to you. Just have like 4 or 5 people per group. Let's start getting our juices flowing this morning. So, imagine I'm your client. Here are the specs. So, unlike yesterday, you're not going to go off and build whatever database you all dream up. This is more real life. This is more consulting. This is more, you've got a client and they have an idea of what they want. So, we've got a music festival. So the idea is that they didn't plan ahead. They didn't care too much about IT. They've got the best bands in the world, but they come up, they've got like 3 weeks left before the festival starts. And now all of a sudden they realize they need to actually take tickets. And they need to actually, of course it's facetious, but they need to actually take tickets and they need to put this thing on for Woodstock 2019. Let's call it that. And you're going to put together bands, you're going to put together tickets, you're going to put together schedule, like who's going to play on which stage. You're going to take tickets from people who are coming to the festival. You're going to possibly have like feedback. Say, you know, if somebody passed out on stage, you probably don't want to invite them back next year. That kind of thing. So a whole festival app. And I say app because the database I cannot stress enough how important the database technologies are. Databases are the heart, the beating heart of any application. So if you get your database right, things are going to go downhill. Okay, it's all right. We can fix little things in the UI. We can fix things in the application tier. But if you get your database relationships wrong, it's really hard to recover from. That's the kind of thing where clients don't accept your app, they throw it away, and they say, we're going to go find somebody else to do this properly. That's how bad it is. Question?
General seating or
Oh, a question about the spec. Is it general seating or is it assigned seats? I will leave that up to you, to your group. I would think it's more just kind of free-for-all, so general seating. I don't think you'd have assigned seats because that's, if you want to go into that, sure, but you know, it's one of those outdoor festivals. I don't think they had assigned seats at Woodstock, so.
Is anybody in this room that's not really alive during this?
Kathy's asking if anybody else was alive during the original Woodstock except for her. And yeah, we got at least one. You're not alone. So the idea is that you're going to build the database that's going to support the mobile application and the web application for participants. The participants are going to buy their ticket to attend. You're probably also going to have some features to have the people at the gates collecting the tickets to make sure that, oh, is that a valid ticket or not? So they're going to have like a little scan barcode thing. By the way, those scan barcode things, I always thought they were magic. It's like, wow, that's really hard technology. You know what it does? Somebody who knows what it does, tell the rest of us what it does.
It searches the database for the information.
Doesn't do anything like that. That's your code, by the way. It searches the database. Here's all it does.
Ones and zeros. It reads.
There's no, I thought, you know, it's so complex. I've got to be like a superstar to be able to program a barcode scanner, you know? Here's what it does. You plug it into your computer. When you say boop, all it does, it reads that and it takes the text that means and it types it. So it's like typing 20 numbers and pressing enter. That is all it does. There's no magic. That's all it does. And it costs like $150, $200 for, you plug it in. And it feels like, wow, that's a really complicated app. But no, it's a user input device. So where does the complication come from? When you scan it, what is that number? Probably the primary key of a record in your database. You pass that to some code, it does a little lookup, and it comes back on their screen and says, oh, do they have a valid ticket or not? So imagine that. They're at the gates, they're doing scanning of the little paper tickets or, you know, phones these days, scan the little 2D barcode thing on their phones. And all it is a primary key of a record in your database. And it says, does that exist or not? Probably a little bit more than just a primary key for a ticket. But you get the idea. So you have that. You have bands. You probably want to say, you know, the band's going to, you know, what are the travel plans for the bands if you want to get really complicated? You want to say which days are the bands going to be playing on which stages? Maybe have understudies. You can go as complex as you want. But I'm giving you, this is build a festival database. And why does this matter? Because in a festival like that, of course you have a marketing site long before you actually hold the festival. But you also, these days, it's expected by the participants, you have a little app. And the app's like, okay, where am I going to go next? That app is going to run off the same database. There's, you know, now that you understood the database, remember the three tiers. You've got database, application tier, and you've got the user interface tiers. So we've got two different user interfaces. You've got the mobile, which you don't know how to write. But by the way, somebody asked, oh, what if I want to, it was Yasmin, asked, what if I wanted to build a mobile app instead of a web app for my final project? I said no in the moment, but really, you're learning C# as of like 2 days from now. C# can be used with Xamarin, which can be used to generate cross-platform native mobile apps. So if you learn C# well, the answer is yes. You can generate mobile apps using C#. It'll generate the UI. We're not going to cover it specifically, but you're going to know the language. All it is like, okay, now I got to build a form that looks like that. That's equivalent to what we're going to be doing on the web with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, database, you're going to choose SQL Server this morning when you're building this. You're going to have an application to you that we're going to completely gloss over. But the idea is that you're building this database that can be used by the mobile UI or the web UI. There's only one database for both of them. So, any questions about specs? Remember, I'm your customer. Sign of a bad consultant. You always have to ask questions. Because I glossed over that so quickly. It's like, there was one good one. It's like, what kind of seating are we doing? Are we doing general seating? Or, because clients, even though they think they're giving you all the information, they never do. There are always a couple things they leave out. And if you wait until you're actually building the database or writing code later, you got to call them up. It's like, or send an email, and they'll get back to you 2 days later. Question?
So how long is the
How long is the what?
How long is the
How long is the festival? It's going to last a week.
How many bands are playing a day?
How many bands are playing a day? We're going to have 5 different stages, and we're going to have 20 bands, and they're going to rotate. Another question in the back.
Are the tickets already bought, or are they going to be going through and buying the tickets and that's
Good question. The question is, are the tickets already purchased, or are we going to have to process the ticket purchases? The answer is both. Some people, friends of the band and such, have been given free passes, and all of the rest of them are now in the early bird purchase stage. You know, there's like 3 tiers. Early bird, they get the cheapest tickets because they buy it a year in advance. That's the stage we're at now. Later on, the price is going to go up, but right now you're in early bird. Question?
Are you managing vendors for like food and drink?
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. Because, you know, whenever you have a music festival, you actually have to feed these people and take care of them. How do you do that normally these days? You have food trucks. So we're going to have a list of food trucks, and we need to schedule those food trucks to be on site on a given day. Question?
I assume as well some type of restroom facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the facility like?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, but you're absolutely right. We probably need to give these people a place to go pee. So, yeah,
Is
we
it
need,
in an open field or is it in like a already established concert venue?
it's going to be both. We have like an open field, like Woodstock style, because we want to maintain fidelity to the original Woodstock, but at the same time, maybe some people that went to the original Woodstock don't want to be outside in the mud these days, so we're going to have an indoor venue as well. So it depends on the venue. Question?
So we're making a database to sell a ticket or to, I mean, like, what exactly is this tracking?
It's a good question. The question was, are we building a database to sell tickets, or what is it tracking? It is everything. And this is typical of consulting. You got this festival organizer, and they've completely glossed over all of the logistics of how to pull this thing off. And they come to you, and it's like, oh, just build me a database, make this happen. And what they really mean, you have to ask questions. How much do you have in another system, and how much do I have to do? The answer here is, we've got a newbie, they've never put on a festival like this before. So they have no clue. In other words, they want you to do everything, and they don't even know all of the things they're going to want you to do. So you have to be able to collect tickets, you have to be able to check people in, you have to be able to organize the food trucks, and you have to organize, like, tell the bands which stage they're going to be on. So this is going to be the truth of the entire festival. You're going to have little spreadsheets and everything pulling data from it, but this is the one system of record. So go wild. You know, build as many tables as you want that you think is relevant.
Will we have like able to purchase multiple tickets or just one? Like if somebody wants to come to group 25?
So the question is, what happens if somebody tries to come in and buy like 100 tickets, and we probably know they're going to try to go scalp them or something? Is there a limit on the number of tickets that they can buy? And the answer is, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. That's actually the common answer from clients. When you ask things like that, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, let's do that.
Whatever you can come up with along the way throughout this, go ahead and make a table for it. So promise consumer.
Any other questions? Anna?
We're just crafting the database, like, kind of the map of what it used to be.
Good question. This practice is going to be just building the boxes and the relationships, knowing which tables you need to go build. Her question was, are we just building kind of a map of what the database would be? And the answer for this morning is yes. But I want you to think about this, because this afternoon, remember last Wednesday, where it was the last day of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? We kind of let you loose and like, let's go review everything. Same type of thing today. Today is the last day of relational databases. And it's a sad day for me because this is my favorite part. So I want to make sure that you get all of the knowledge that I need to give you. Because if you don't get it, your applications are going to fail. I can tell you that right now. So it's important. The onus is on you to make sure you understand the basics of SQL, the basics of relational database design. And you know how to do this on your own. To answer your question more directly, right now we're building the little boxes and the relationships, but be prepared just pick one at random. I'm going to build that table structure, either with the designer in SQL Server Management Studio, or you write a little script that says create table, and you know this is what I would do if I were going to go through and actually write the syntax to create all the tables. And for that one table, don't just do the primary key and foreign key, but then you have to start thinking a little bit more. It's like, okay, for a venue, what are the things that people really care about knowing about a venue? It's going to be, there's probably a name for the venue. Say it's Bailey Park out here. Bailey Park, okay, what are the square footage? You know, that's probably either number or string fields. You probably have opening and closing times for the venue, things like that. All those would be fields on that table. So step one, build the relationships. Step two, and this would be a later time that's not going to happen with this little example. It's going to be you would go down and think about each table. What do I need to capture for that table? But that's the easy part, which is why we've kind of glossed over it. Other questions? Okay, go to it. You have half an hour, 9:15. Come back here and we'll review.